Alright, what's going on everybody? It's Sam from Rather Make Me Bet. In this video we're doing my card predictions for UFC on ESPN 36, Rakic versus Blachowicz. As always, we'll start with checking how I went in the last card. In this case, at the time that I'm recording this, UFC 274 hasn't yet taken place, so I'm showing the results from UFC on ESPN 35, which was Vera and Font. So basically, I bet in the rolling 2.5 units, got back 7 units, so it was pretty nice profit, at least in terms of the amount I bet in return. And this is how it looks like throughout the years. What's my current profit in units, and if I'm accounting for each event, right? How much I'm making each event, and then make an average here, it would come to this. Not an average, right? Summing both profit and losses, it's coming to this amount. All right. So let's get into the card, guys. I'm gonna tell you guys who I'm picking and who I'm betting, and then we're gonna move on to the breakdowns. All right. So between Ion Cutelaba and Ryan Spann, I'm picking Cutelaba but betting Spann. So this doesn't make sense to you. Wait until the breakdown. Michael Johnson and Alan Patrick, I'm picking Johnson but not betting. Andrea Lee and Viviane Araújo, I'm picking betting Araújo. Caitlin Chukagian and Amanda Ribas, I'm picking betting Chukagian, my biggest bet as of now. Verna Jandiroba and Angela Hill, I'm picking betting Hill. Small bet. Nick Maximov and Andrei Petrovsky, I'm picking Nick, but I'm tempted to betting Petrovsky. I'm waiting to see if the lines get even better there. Jake Hadley and Alan Nascimento, I'm picking Hadley but betting Nascimento. Alexander Rakic and Jan Blachowicz, I'm picking and betting Rakic. Tatsuro Taira and Carlos Candelario, I'm picking Taira but betting Candelario, right? So let's see why these things. And by the way, guys, if you wish to support the channel, stick until the end, I'll show you how. And I'm going to tell you the advantages that I have for you in my Patreon, right? One of them being this content where I put my analysis in here. You guys have access to this. You guys have, summarized my analysis, so that helps you. And I'm also going to explain that in the end, alright? So let's get into this one, guys. As always, I'm gonna try to focus mostly on the fights that I'm betting, even though I'm betting quite a bit on this card. And those that I'm not betting, I'm gonna just simplify a little bit, okay? Just for time's sake. So Tatsuro Taira and Carlos Candelario, this is an intriguing one, guys. This fight has moved from a previous card. I ended up just moving my thoughts to this one. Basically, Taira looks a little bit more composed. He's taller, he's longer, more, looks like better, especially on the striking. Candelario has good wrestling, right? He also has a decent grappling game. The reason I'm betting Carlos here, I think Taira, there's a chance that Taira doesn't come 100%. He's very young, right? He's only 22. He's making his UFC debut. In general, guys young like this tend to have lots of jitters, right? I'm not sure if Taira is this type of guy. He seems to me calm in where he fights, so he's the way he fights doesn't add too much to my thought here, to my assumption. But anyway, he's very young, and this could happen. Plus, Candelario is tough. He's gonna come forward, right? And he'll basically fight. He's gonna try to out-wrestle Taira. He's gonna come for a fight. To me, Taira is still the favorite, right? He has more skills, but in terms of a bet, I think it makes sense to bet Carlos Candelario here from plus 200. Just because, like I said, right, I think Taira, he can, the lights can be too bright, at least in the first fight, and then we could see Candelario, pushing and maybe edging him on a close decision or something. So to me, I'm gonna be betting Candelario here. I'm betting him on the money line, and I'm probably gonna be betting him a decision too when that line opens. I expect to be a very nice line. Andrea Lee and Viviane Araújo. So this is another interesting one. This is also tough to call, guys. I was back and forth here, ended up picking Araújo. I think she's sharper on the feet. She's faster, more athletic, and has more tools on the feet. But I can say that Andrea Lee is no slouch on the feet. She's a good boxer herself. She's good in moving the head and finding some shots in. She's also the better grappler of the two. In the recent fights, she showed her potential there. Pushing her girls against the cage, out wrestling them. Won't be easy to do against Araújo because Araújo moves a lot and she's faster, right? She doesn't sit much on her punches. Araújo, she's more like feinting there, false start, score some shots, get out of the way. I see Araújo being able to do that, even though if you like Lee here, don't blame you, because she could be the one pushing Araujo back and forcing her against the cage, being able to take her down. So we'll see what happened here, guys. I'm rewarding a little bit more the athleticism, you know, and the stand-up in this one, but definitely Andrea Lee could do what I said, right? Make it fairly even on the feet, and then, you know, clinching and trying to end up being able to grapple, force Araujo in a grappling match and win a decision. This is likely going the distance too, so that also is definitely a factor, right? In a close fight. Fight go the distance might be interesting here, but I expect that comes at a very expensive price. But you know, from something like -150, even -200 probably makes sense. But these are my thoughts there. I'm gonna be going with Araujo here. I'm peeking and betting her a little bit. Verna Jandiroba, Angela Hill, another interesting one. Quite similar to the previous, but different. The difference is here that Jandiroba is not as good as Lee is on the feet, but she's better on the ground. So Verna Jandiroba tries to basically set up her takedowns. That's what she does. She has basically one type of takedown, maybe two. One of them is the double leg with the leg trip, and the second is forcing girls against the cage and going to the body lock type of thing. Angela Hill, she has lots of experience, especially against the high-level grapplers, right? She's more dynamic on the feet. She pushes the pace, you know, she keeps on your face, keep touching, you know, scoring shots. She has some power, you know. I think she lost some of her power throughout the years, but still, it's respectful. Sorry, she's gonna be touching Jandiroba here. The reason I'm picking Hill here especially is because I think Jandiroba is pretty good on the first round. She starts quite fast, but then she slows down a little bit. Even I can see Verna being able to do similar things that she did against Amanda Ribas, like hold the Hill down or, you know, score the first round. But then she tends to slow down a bit, you know, maybe, I don't know if she second guesses herself or she maybe gets tired and tries not to risk too much type of thing. So I think Hill has a little bit more chances, but I'm not that confident. The reason is, again, Hill is fighting a great fighter here in Jandiroba, and also she's now 37, so that's always tricky. She still looks pretty strong and fit to me, but still Verna here looks a little bit bigger, you know, so she could force the clinch and, you know, grab her down, hold her down, you know. Still expect to be a close fight. I think Hill gonna fight that pretty well. I don't think he'll get submitted, even though it's not impossible because Verna is good on the BJJ. But another one probably going the distance, very close one, similar to the previous one, very close fight. So we'll see what happens. Angela Hill is plus 140 dog, to me makes sense, so I'm betting her there. And let's see what happens. Ion Cutelaba and Ryan Spann. This also moved from a previous card. Basically, Ion likes to move forward, you know, throw the bombs. He also has a good wrestling game, right? Especially offensively, he's pretty good, and he muscles those guys down, and he goes hard for the ground and pound. Those shots from top are incredible, you know, elbows and massive blows from top. So Ion definitely very dangerous. I can say the same things about Spann, right? Spann longer, you know, taller, hits hard himself, big leverage on those punches, right? He also can kick. I think also, if I recall correctly, it's he has a good he has some flying knees or something. I'm trying to recollect my memory now, but still, Spann is good with the hands. He has some power in there, right? So I don't know, man. I think Ion has more chances, especially if he survives the first round, right? Because Spann tends to slow down. He's a heavy hitter all the time, but once he has a burst, he tends to slow down. I think Ion has the better cardio of the two. He's a little bit younger as well. So yeah, I think Ion is a pick, but in terms of a bet, I think it makes sense to bet Spann here. It's not impossible that he puts Ion out. Also, if they start trading, Ion Cutelaba doesn't back down from a brawl, so it could go either way in the sense if they start throwing hard, right? So we'll see what happens here. I think, again, Ion has more chances, but to me it makes sense to bet Spann at plus 180, something like that. Jake Hadley and Alan Nascimento, another good fight. It's a high level one. Hadley coming with the hype in here, not as experienced as Nascimento, but he fights well. You know, he fights like a veteran, even though he's young, 25. So he's in his physical prime, and also seems to come, you know, composed in there. Let me fix this one. I think the odds I got correctly in this slide, but let me just confirm here. Yep. So I just forgot to update the names. Sometimes I copy those from others, right? So what is the so yeah, again, so Hadley coming off, you know, looking good, basically, you know, looking sharp on the feet. The man is young, right? He's well-rounded too. I like his decent wrestling game, very difficult to take down and hold down, so he's complete in that regard, right? Alan Nascimento is a veteran. The man is very experienced, you know, he's 30-year-old, so he's not, he's still in his physical prime, you know, 30, reaching there, his maximum potential probably. So we'll see what, this is going to be a close fight, guys, make no mistake about it. Alan is pretty good everywhere. The reason I'm picking Hadley as a quite strong favorite is because Alan, I don't like much his stand-up. He has some credentials, has some, you know, kickboxing black belt. I don't know whoever gave that to him, but he has a kickboxing black belt, so he's not bad on the feet, but he makes mistakes, guys. Chin is up, you know, and I don't like much his reflexes, to be honest. Plus, he doesn't hit hard, you know, Nascimento doesn't. Hadley is sharper on the feet, so I think he's probably give him the edge in this regard. But again, Hadley making his UFC debut, guys. Alan Nascimento is a high-level BJJ player. He is also well-rounded, has a decent wrestling game, and he's gonna be there to fight. This guy won't back down. He can get finished, but won't be easy. So if this goes the distance, maybe Nascimento's experience, it could be the difference here, right? So to bet Hadley, as much as I think he's a great fighter, as much as I do, again, he's fighting another high-level fighter, and in his debut, right, a guy that's 3 times more experienced than him. So to me, it makes sense to bet Nascimento, especially by decision. You know, I think Hadley has a very good takedown defense, and he's tough to submit. So I think this goes the distance, right? I think Hadley gonna do more damage, but in the end, you never know, especially on the debut again. So we'll see. I think it makes sense to bet Nascimento here, especially at +180. Katlyn Chookagian and Amanda Ribas. As I told you guys, my biggest bet on Chookagian. Pretty confident there. The reason is I think Ribas, you know, guys know that Ribas is stepping up a weight class here. So Katlyn, I think she's gonna have probably 5 inches in height and probably the same in reach. So Katlyn she doesn't have much power. She always goes to decision, but you know, she controls the range pretty well. It's tough to pass her jab. She also keeps, you know, busy with the right hand and the kicks. She doesn't hit that hard, but anyway, it's respectful. And our Ribas has been knocked out by Marina Rodriguez. She's fighting a bigger woman in here. I don't think Ribas likes much getting hit, even though she keeps coming. Right? I think Chookagian controls the range in here. Ribas has a very good wrestling in the BJJ game, but she's fighting a bigger woman here again, and I think Chookagian has proven that her takedown defense pretty decent, and she's no slouch from her back. It's tough to hold this girl down. She also has good, I think she's a BJJ black belt herself. So I think Chookagian controls the range in here. Ribas probably gonna have her moments, maybe in the first round, but I think Chookagian, if she loses the first, then she picks up from the second. So, but I think it's gonna be one-sided match here. Chookagian controlling the distance, Ribas having to respect her, not being able to take fight to the ground, and then Katlyn just outpointing her. All right. So this is my pick, Chookagian by decision, and my biggest bet, as I told you guys. Andrei Petrovsky and Nick Maximov. Another interesting one. I mean, Petrovsky basically a wrestler, you know, but I was tempted to bet this guy, but to me he panics a little bit in there, right? With the stand-up, he's very stiff. He throws his power. He looks, you know, big and thick, but he tends to panic, in my opinion. He doesn't feint, doesn't set up his shots. He keeps swinging and starts slowing down after the first half of the first round. In the first half, he's dangerous. You know, he has a power double, and he's a pretty decent grappler. He goes for your neck and you know, cranks on you. He could even finish Maximov, right? Especially on the first round. But I think that if he doesn't, and it's not easy to finish Maximov, right? I think if Nick survives, and he probably will, he's probably gonna take over this fight, because I think Andrei gonna start slowing down. Nick gonna start picking him on the feet. Probably also gonna out wrestle him, especially from the second round. And then Petrovsky also wouldn't probably, I don't know, I haven't seen much from his back, so I think he's probably going to struggle because he's probably going to be tired, and Nick is pretty decent from top. So I think Nick finishes him probably in the second or the third round. But in terms of a bet, guys, I don't know. I think Nick still has lots to develop, right? He's not a good stand-up fighter. He's an okay one, not bad. And wrestler, I think he's a little bit better than Petrowski, you know, at least on the chain wrestling. But on the grappling, I think Andre is a little bit better. So I'm rewarding Nick here mostly because Andre tends to panic, and I think he's gonna slow down. But rather than that, I don't trust much Maximov. Maybe Andre from plus 300 something. It makes sense. I may even put a tiny bet on Andre here, but probably the best here is just to pass, guys, and watch and enjoy this one. Okay. So Nick inside of the distance, my pick. Michael Johnson and Alan Patrick. This is easy to break down. Basically, Johnson is a boxer in there. Tends to use some decent calf and leg kicks, but basically a boxer in there. Alan Patrick, basically how can you call this guy's style? Basically maybe a grappler, right? He just jumps from far away, grabs your leg, and uses all his size to muscle you to the ground. That's basically what he does. Pretty big guy, you know, even a 38-year-old, he's pretty strong, you know, very explosive and fast still. I think Johnson gonna be able to. I don't think he stuffs the first shot, but I think he's gonna keep getting back up, and I think eventually he picks up this fight. I think Johnson gonna be able to do more damage. Basically, Patrick is good in taking guys to the ground and holding them on the clinch, but not as much as doing damage. He goes for chokes and these things, but I think Johnson gonna play it safe, right? Johnson can be submitted, we know that, but I think Patrick, won't be easy to submit Johnson. Okay, I think this is still a close fight, right? You can definitely see Patrick, you know, muscling Johnson, holding him down, or even getting a submission, not impossible. But I think most likely Johnson, you know, score more shots, does more damage, gets back up and keeps scoring. I think it won't be easy to finish Patrick, especially because Johnson is aggressive, but I don't think he's going to be able to open up too much. So let's see what happens here. I think Johnson also under a better camp, so my pick is him, but I'm not going to be betting this one. Alexander Rakic and Jan Blachowicz in the main event. Interesting, I'm going with the hype here, guys. I think Rakic at this point, you know, at his physical prime, with his size, right? I think this is going to be a little bit too much for Jan. I know Jan is a former champion, well-rounded, hits hard still. Not a small guy by no means for the division, right? Has an excellent switch kick to the body, right? He's also times his double leg pretty well. But the problem for me here is that Jan, he doesn't push the pace too much. He's more like a guy that, you know, waits for his time and uses his experience to his advantage. I don't think Rakic gonna give him much opportunities, just because Rakic is much younger, you know, much bigger and much stronger, right? I think Rakic probably gonna be busier throwing that 1-2, that big head kick that he has. I think Jan gonna have to be wary about that, not to get knocked out. And I think Rakic edges him quite clearly on the decision. So that's what I'm expecting here. How do I see this playing otherwise? Maybe Jan finding a big shot, right? People said in the past that Rakic has suspect cardio, maybe, but I think won't be a problem in this fight. I think if Jan forces the clinch, Rakic has decent takedown defense, and he's gonna be the one wearing most of the time on Jan. So I don't think Rakic. First of all, I don't think Rakic has that bad of a cardio. Second, I don't think it's going to be a problem in this fight, right? So I'm quite confident on Rakic as well. I'm throwing him in some parlays, and yeah, this is my last bet of the card. All right, so guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you please do like, subscribe, share with your friends, and real quick about the Patreon. For $10, you guys have the early releases, such as this video has been first released to the patrons, right? Like I told you in the beginning. You also have access to this material in here, where I put my comments here. I say that what I'm probably gonna do, so it's like complementary to the video, plus you guys can review this material to help you out with the fights. Obviously, when you are part of the Patreon, you can always reach out to me, ask me my opinion, or, you know, obviously feel free to chat to me. My brain is here to help you guys. And for $50 is the ultimate package. You know, how does it look like? You guys have access to this spreadsheet, so you can basically see whatever I'm doing. If I have updates, I update this too. The props that I take, so just an example, these are the props that I took for the UFC 274, right? This one didn't cash, but let's see what this also didn't cash, so it happens. But the props, some of them I cashed. For example, some of them that cashed in here, like Brito inside of the distance, this was a massive one. There are others on here. So line by line, all the props that I have, plus the betting strategy. Also some other here when I have the time. I also add things that I'm doing, such as this one. Let's see how it goes. This event is yet to happen, right? So some bets here. Bivol by decision, Canelo, and the Bivol by draw, in a draw. So this is how it looks like, guys. Plus you guys can support the channel to the ultimate level, alright? So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll talk to you next time. This is Sam from Brother Bet, bring the best, most consistent and transparent betting strategy for you.